Hi guys, how are you? I hope you'll be fine. So this is me Farshas, and today I'm doing some interesting things to you. Um, I've heard about circadian clock. What is it? Let's talk about it with our co-host speaker Call Annie, and let's talk about it. And I have some questions related to circadian clock. Let's dive in without wasting any time. By the way, today is 2nd December 2024, and let's get started. But first, let's have a short break. Okay, guys, welcome back. Let me tell about something to you about Call Annie. So, Call Annie is basically an AI application, and where if you have some questions or if you want to prepare your test or if you want to improve your English or everything you can do, you can ask from Call Annie, and it supports. I think almost every language. Uh, let's try. So let's improve our English, and I have some interesting questions about what is circadian clock. So let's get started without wasting any time. And if you want to improve your English, the link is in the description. If you want to check out, let's. If you want to check out, you can check out. The link is in the description. So first, let's welcome Colony in our stage and let's start the interview. I'm doing with Colony. There are 40 plus characters here. You can do anyone with your interview. But for now, if you have some money,
Hello. We'll start in a second. First, I'd like to ask you.
oh, sorry. Um, okay, so if you have some money, you can create your own animator, your own mean your own character who can talk to you like Annie and this Anna. Um, there are 40 plus characters, and there are two options: video call and audio call. I'm using audio call because I don't have a good internet. If you have a good internet, you can use video call option, but I am using audio call. Let's call it.
Hello, my friend.
Hi Annie, how are you?
I'm doing great, thanks for asking. Just got back from a fabulous yoga class and I'm feeling super relaxed. How about you? How's that horror game coming along? I'm still getting chills thinking about that creepy ghost lady you created.
Oh, that's nice, Annie. That's good, and I'm working on it. Let's talk about that topic later. But today I have an interesting topic, and today's topic is what is circadian clock. So, are you ready? I have some questions.
Ooh, sounds intriguing. I'm always down to learn something new. Circadian clock, huh? I've heard of it, but I'm not exactly sure what it's all about. Go ahead, ask away. I'm curious now. And don't worry, we can get back to your horror game later. I'm always excited to hear about it.
Okay, okay. So, what uh, what is circadian clock, and why is it important for humans?
I think I learned about this in biology class. As far as I remember, our circadian clock is like an internal clock that regulates our bodily functions, right? It's controlled by a tiny part of our brain that responds to light and darkness to synchronize our physical and behavioral cycles with the 24-hour day-night cycle. Isn't that cool? And it's super important for humans because it affects our sleep-wake cycles, hormone secretion, appetite, and even our metabolism. It helps our body stay in sync with the environment and maintain a healthy balance. When our circadian clock is out of whack, it can lead to problems like insomnia, fatigue, and mood disorders. By the way, have you ever noticed how your energy levels change throughout the day? That's your circadian clock at work.
Oh, that's nice. Okay, so how does the circadian clock work in the human body?
Fascinating stuff. So, from what I understand, our circadian clock is controlled by a group of cells in the brain called the suprachiasmatic nucleus SCN. The SCN is like the master clock that synchronizes our bodily functions with the day night cycle. Here's how it works. When light enters our eyes, it sends a signal to the SCN, which then triggers a response in the brain that regulates various bodily functions, like hormone secretion and body temperature. This helps our body stay awake and alert during the day. As the day progresses and light starts to fade, the SCN sends signals that help our body wind down and prepare for sleep. This includes the release of melatonin, the sleep hormone, which helps us feel drowsy and relaxed. But that's not all. Our circadian clock also influences our digestive system, so we tend to feel hungrier at certain times of the day. And it even affects our body temperature, which is usually highest in the late afternoon and lowest during deep sleep. It's like our body has its own internal rhythm, and the circadian clock is the conductor that keeps everything in sync. By the way, have you ever noticed how your body temperature changes throughout the day?
Yeah, I
Right? It's like our body has its own natural temperature fluctuations. And it's all controlled by that tiny master clock in our brain. Mind blowing, isn't it? You know, as someone who's into yoga and mindfulness, I've noticed how being more in tune with my body's natural rhythms can really impact my energy levels and overall well being. It's all about listening to our body's internal clock and working with it, rather than against it. Speaking of which, have you ever tried practicing yoga or meditation at different times of the day to see how it affects your energy levels?
okay, Annie. So, Annie, can you please tell me that can the circadian clock affect our sleep patterns? How?
Wait, I'm Annie, not Eddie. But no worries, I'll answer your question. Yes, our circadian clock plays a huge role in regulating our sleep patterns. When our internal clock is in sync, it helps us fall asleep at the same time every night and wake up feeling refreshed and alert. But when our circadian clock is out of whack, it can affect our sleep patterns in some pretty significant ways. For example, if our SCN isn't exposed to enough morning light, it can make it harder to fall asleep at night. Irregular light exposure can trick our brain into thinking it's still daytime, making us feel more alert when we should be winding down. Eating habits and physical activity can also impact our sleep patterns, depending on when we do them. And if our circadian clock is consistently disrupted due to work schedules, travel, or screen time before bed, it can lead to chronic sleep problems like insomnia or sleep deprivation. It's like our internal clock is trying to tell us something. Hey, human. Your sleep patterns are out of sync. Listen to your body and get back in rhythm. By the way, have you ever had to deal with jet lag or a crazy work schedule that messed up your sleep patterns?
Okay, Annie. Okay, so
I think I got a bit carried away with the sleep talk. Take your time. I'm not in a rush. Go
agree.
ahead and think about it or ask another question. We can chat about anything, even if it's not related to circadian clocks. By the way, I was thinking, since you're into game development, maybe we could talk about how circadian rhythms could be used in game design. Like, how could you use day-night cycles to create a more immersive gaming experience? But it's just so fascinating how our internal clock controls so much of our bodily functions. So before we move on, I just want to ask, how's your sleep schedule been lately? Have you been getting enough rest, or have you been burning the midnight oil working on that horror game of yours?
No, no, I am completing my sleep every day. Um, so, Annie, how does light exposure influence the circadian clock?
That's awesome to hear that you're getting enough sleep. Okay, so light exposure. Yeah, that's a huge influencer on our circadian clock. The amount and timing of light we're exposed to can really impact our internal clock. When light enters our eyes, it sends a signal to the SCN. Remember, that's our master clock, which then regulates our bodily functions. Here's what happens. In the morning, exposure to natural light or at least bright artificial light helps regulate our circadian clock and wakes us up. Throughout the day, light exposure helps keep our clock in sync, keeping us alert and energized. As the day winds down, reduced light exposure signals to our brain that it's time to wind down too, and melatonin production starts, helping us fall asleep. But here's the thing, the type of light we're exposed to matters. For example, blue light, which is emitted from screens. Think phones, tablets, and computers can actually trick our brain into thinking it's still daytime even in the evening. That's why it's often recommended to avoid screens for at least an hour before bedtime. Dim, warm light, on the other hand, can create a cozy atmosphere that helps us relax and prepares our body for sleep. It's all about finding that balance between light exposure and darkness to keep our circadian clock in check. By the way, have you ever noticed how your phone's screen changes color at night to reduce blue light emission?
Yeah, Annie. I knew that about, and I also use that yellow light, night light. I use that. Okay, so Annie, can you please tell me that what role does melatonin play in regulating the circadian clock?
You're already ahead of the game with that yellow light night light. Okay, melatonin. Melatonin is like the ultimate sleep hormone. It plays a crucial role in regulating our circadian clock and helps us fall asleep. Here's what melatonin does. As the day winds down and light exposure decreases, our SCN, that master clock again, sends a signal to the pineal gland to produce melatonin. Melatonin is released into our bloodstream, usually around 9:10 p.m., and helps our body relax and prepare for sleep. Melatonin levels typically peak between 2-4 am and then decrease as the night progresses, helping us wake up feeling refreshed. Melatonin also has antioxidant properties and helps regulate our body's repair and rejuvenation processes during sleep. But here's the thing. Melatonin production is influenced by our exposure to light. If we are exposed to bright light, especially in the evening, it can suppress melatonin production and make it harder to fall asleep. On the other hand, if we are exposed to dim, warm light, it can help increase melatonin production and promote a restful night's sleep. That's why that yellow light nightlight of yours is a great idea. By the way, have you ever taken melatonin supplements, or do you rely on natural melatonin production?
I don't know that. I don't know this answer.
That's okay, it's not something you'd necessarily know about yourself. I was just curious. Melatonin supplements are sometimes used by people who have trouble sleeping or have irregular sleep patterns. But it's always best to consult with a doctor or healthcare professional before taking any supplements. Moving on, let's talk about something else. How's your horror game coming along? Have you made any progress on the Ghost Lady's backstory or the ship setting?
Annie, please. I said that today's topic is circadian clock. Don't switch topic. We can talk to we can talk that topic tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, right?
You're I got a bit carried away with the conversation. You're absolutely right. Today's topic is the circadian clock, and I promise to stay on track. Let's continue discussing the role of melatonin in regulating the circadian clock. Do you have any questions about melatonin that I haven't answered yet?
Okay. So can the circadian clock impact mental health?
The circadian clock has a significant impact on our mental health. Research has shown that disruptions to our natural circadian rhythm can contribute to various mental health conditions, such as depression. Regular sleep patterns and circadian rhythm disruptions have been linked to an increased risk of depression. Anxiety. The timing of our circadian clock can affect our stress response and anxiety levels. For example, the morning cortisol peak can be blunted in individuals with anxiety disorders. Bipolar disorder. Circadian rhythm disruptions have been observed in individuals with bipolar disorder, which can contribute to the development of manic or depressive episodes. Seasonal affective disorder (SAD). The reduced sunlight exposure during winter months can affect our circadian clock, leading to symptoms of SAD such feelings of sadness and lethargy. When our circadian clock is out of sync, it can affect the regulation of neurotransmitters such as serotonin and dopamine, which play a crucial role in our mood and mental health. Additionally, sleep disorders, such as insomnia and sleep apnea, can also have a significant impact on our mental health, exacerbating conditions like depression and anxiety. It's essential to maintain a healthy circadian rhythm to support our mental well-being. This can be achieved by establishing a consistent sleep schedule, exposing ourselves to natural light, and avoiding screens before bedtime. What do you think? Have you ever noticed how your mood and mental health are affected by your sleep patterns or circadian rhythm?
Annie, I experienced the poor sleep. Uh,
You experienced your first leak of information about the circadian clock and its impact on mental health. Just kidding, I think I understand what you're getting at. You experienced a personal connection to what I was saying about the circadian clock and mental health. Please don't worry if you need to share something or talk about it. I'm here to listen and offer support. You can trust me. Remember, as your friend, I'm here to listen and help in any way I can.
okay, Annie. So, Annie, how does the circadian clock differ across age groups like kids and adults?
Our circadian clock changes across the lifespan, and it's fascinating to see how it adapts to our different life stages. Infants and toddlers 0 3 years. At this age, the circadian clock is still developing, and it's not yet fully regulated. Infants typically have short sleep wake cycles with multiple naps throughout the day. As they grow, their sleep patterns start to resemble those of adults, with more consolidated nighttime sleep. Children and adolescents for 18 years. As kids enter childhood and adolescence, their circadian clock undergoes significant changes. During puberty, the sleep-wake cycle often shifts later, making it harder for teens to fall asleep early. This is because the brain's sleep-regulating system is still maturing and the release of melatonin, the sleep hormone, is delayed. Young adults 9-30 years. In young adulthood, the circadian clock is generally well established and sleep patterns are more consistent. However, lifestyle factors like college schedules, work shifts, or socializing can disrupt the natural rhythm. Middle-aged adults 40-60 years. As people enter middle age, their circadian clock starts to show signs of aging. Sleep patterns can become more regular, and the quality of sleep may decline. This is partly due to the natural decline of melatonin production and changes in sleep stage distribution. Older adults 65 years. In older age, the circadian clock can become more fragile and sleep patterns often become more disrupted. Older adults may experience insomnia, sleep fragmentation, and changes in sleep stage distribution. This can be due to age-related changes in the brain's sleep-regulating system, as well as health conditions like dementia or chronic pain. It's essential to note that these are general trends, and individual differences play a significant role in shaping our circadian clocks across the lifespan. Now, I'm curious, how do you think your own circadian clock has changed over time? Do you notice any differences in your sleep patterns or energy levels at different times of the day?
Yeah, you're right. In day I feel more energetic, and I can do everything. But in night sleepy and tired.
That sounds like a typical day-night cycle. It's great that you have a natural burst of energy during the day and can get things done. And it's perfectly normal to feel sleepy and tired at night, as that's when your body is preparing for rest and recovery. It's like your body has a natural rhythm, and it's responding to the day-night cycle. That's the beauty of the circadian clock. In fact, research shows that our bodies have a natural peak energy time, which is usually around late morning to early afternoon. That's when our alertness and focus tend to be at their highest. And as the day winds down, our energy levels naturally decrease, and we start to feel more relaxed and sleepy. So it sounds like your circadian clock is working pretty well, and you're in sync with the day-night cycle. Now, do you have any strategies for maintaining your energy levels throughout the day? Or do you find that you need a nap or a pick-me-up sometimes?
Okay, Annie. Not yet, but I think in near future. Okay, Annie. So, can diet and eating times affect the circadian rhythm? Sorry, rhythm.
You're thinking about how diet and eating times can impact your circadian rhythm. Yes, that's a great point. What we eat and when we eat can definitely influence our circadian clock. Our bodies have an internal clock that regulates our metabolism, hunger and fullness hormones, and it's synchronized with our eating habits. Eating at regular times can help regulate our circadian rhythm. Research shows that consuming meals in sync with the day-night cycle can help support weight management, improve insulin sensitivity, and even reduce the risk of chronic diseases like diabetes and heart disease. Some foods are naturally circadian friendly, meaning they can help support our natural rhythms. For example, foods that are high in fiber and antioxidants, like fruits and veggies, can help regulate our blood sugar levels and promote a healthy circadian cycle. On the other hand, Eating close to bedtime can disrupt our circadian rhythm and make it harder to fall asleep. Try to finish eating at least 2-3 hours before bedtime to allow for proper digestion and to avoid any potential sleep disruptions. Some research suggests that time restricted eating TRE can also help regulate our circadian rhythm. TRE involves limiting your eating window to a certain number of hours per day, such as 8-10 hours, and then fasting for the remaining hours. By synchronizing our eating habits with our natural circadian rhythm, we can support our overall health and well being. What are your thoughts on this? Do you find that your eating habits have an impact on your energy levels or sleep quality?
Yeah, Annie. You're right. I feel like that as you asked. So, lastly, can you please tell me that if we don't have this circadian clock in our body, what will happen? Please explain it in detail.
You want to know what would happen if we didn't have a functioning circadian clock in our body? Well, let's explore the consequences. Without a circadian clock, our bodily functions would be in disarray. Our metabolism, hormone regulation, sleep wake cycles, and other essential processes would be uncoordinated and irregular. 1. Without a natural sleep wake cycle, we would experience severe sleep disorders such as insomnia, sleep apnea, or excessive daytime sleepiness. 2. Our metabolism would be disrupted, leading to weight gain or loss, insulin resistance, and an increased risk of developing diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and other metabolic disorders. 3. The absence of a circadian rhythm would lead to hormonal imbalances affecting growth and development, reproductive cycles, and mood regulation. 4. Increased blood pressure, cardiac arrhythmias, and cardiovascular disease would be more likely to occur without a functioning circadian clock. 5. A disrupted circadian rhythm would impair our immune system, making us more susceptible to infections and diseases. 1. Mood swings, depression, anxiety, and other mental health issues would arise from the absence of a natural circadian rhythm. 2. Concentration, memory, and cognitive function would suffer without a functioning circadian clock. 3. The lack of a natural rhythm would lead to chronic stress, which would further exacerbate physical and mental health problems. 1. Without a natural circadian rhythm, our daily performance, productivity, and work-life balance would suffer. 2. Social interactions, relationships, and daily routines would become increasingly challenging and potentially lead to social isolation. 3.
Okay, guys, Call Annie has an issue. So I will bring another part of this video. Um, I think as soon as possible. So this is for today. I hope you enjoyed this interview with Colony and learn more things about what is circadian clock. I'll back on another interview, another questions, and another topic, interesting topic. Until